Thinking about planning for after we are gone. It's daunting. It's not something we want to think about, and when we do, it's often confusing. Here to explain some of the terms you really need to know is elder law and estate planning lawyer Rob Slutsky from Robert Slutsky Associates. Rob, good to see you, my friend.
Good morning.
Welcome. Glad to have you here. Now, Rob says estate planning is a must, correct?
Yes, it is.
And why is that? Explain that.
Well, because the legal landscape today is just so complicated, so people really have to think about what the future holds.
And as far as finding that information, where do they go and why?
Well, I mean, today people go to the internet and learn basics there. You're not going to learn everything you need to know about estate planning because it's so specific. It's state specific. It's specific to your needs, your facts, your finances, your family situation. Typically, if they want to have a complete estate plan, they really need to have a team of experts, an estate planning attorney. They often need someone in the financial services field, maybe an accountant or a financial planner, and they have to talk to their healthcare professional. That's part of the discussion.
Now, where does power of attorney fit into all that, and explain exactly what the power of attorney is and does?
Well, power of attorney fits in, it's a decision-making tool while you're alive. In other words, most people don't think, well, I can make my own decisions now. What happens if I can't? And one of the things that we think about, particularly in elder law, is what happens when you can't make decisions.
Sure.
So the power of attorney is a tool that allows you to give someone else the ability to make decisions for you. And there's basically three types of powers of attorney you want to think about. The first one is the financial power of attorney, and this is where you give someone else the authority, if you can't, to make decisions regarding your finances, your assets, your retirement plans, your tax returns, all kinds of things that you would otherwise do for yourself if you could.
And that someone else should be?
It's someone you trust. It really doesn't, it can be someone who's a relative, a spouse, could be a child, but as long as the person is trustworthy and they understand what your wishes are, it really doesn't matter whether there's a blood relation.
Okay. And the other two things?
The other ones are, you've got your healthcare power of attorney, which describes general healthcare decision making, not end of life, which we'll discuss in a second, but you want to have someone there. Let's say that you're 85 years old and you have dementia and really are not good at making decisions anymore. You forget things. This healthcare power of attorney could make those decisions for you, authorize medical care, admission to a nursing facility, things like that. And then the final thing you have to think about is the living will, or the advanced medical directive. I
was going to ask you about that because I had surgery recently, and for the first time I was asked by a number of people in the medical profession before the surgery, do you have a living will? At the time I didn't. I'm looking into it now, but once again, why that is so important? Well,
it's so important because you want to make the choice about what happens to you at end of life. There are so many people out there who the choice is left up to chance, where they haven't thought ahead. What do I want if the doctors are saying that care won't help me bring me back to a quality of life? In other words, if end-of-life care is not going to help you become independent again and living a good quality of life, then you want to be able to say, here's what I do want and here's what I don't want.
How does it all differ from a trust?
Well, a trust is first of all, it's a financial document. A trust is something that you establish that holds property, and then it can determine where your property goes, either while you're alive or after you pass away. As opposed to a will, which is what most people get. And a will is a document that says, here's what I want to happen to my stuff, you know, my assets, whether they're personal or financial, after I die.
A lot of stuff we need to go over, but we can't in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. But hopefully we touched on it a little bit for you. For more on estate planning and Robert Slutsky Associates, just go to cbsphilly.com and click on Talk Philly. Thank you for the insight.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We'll be right back.